Hello, everyone. Erin Lee here of heavenlymessenger.com, and welcome to tonight's Connection with Intention. We're on a couple of minutes early, and I have to admit, I've been ready since about 6:45. It's almost 7:30, and usually I go live at 7. But when I was planning for tonight's live, I thought, no, there's no way I'm going to be ready in time for that. I still have to do all of these different things. Well, all of those different things either didn't take as long as I thought they would, or I decided to put them off until later. So here we are. We're starting a little bit early. In the time that I had while I was waiting for it to be 7:30, a whole pile of things have happened. I've made up 4 different slides to share with you. I promise that we're not going to talk too much, and we started a little bit early too. But it keeps hitting me over and over and over again to quickly talk about signs. This evening, as I was logging into StreamYard, which is the platform that I use to connect with you so that I can talk to people on Facebook and I can talk to people on YouTube, all at the same time while we're here. The code that they sent me was 07, which is my birth month, and that keeps coming up. 7/26, that's my birthday. It keeps coming up over and over and over. So I've been starting to really pay attention to sevens when sevens pop up. And the last 4 numbers of my login code were 4444, which is meaningful and significant as well. 4s mean that your angels are with you, helping and supporting you. And 444 was also the time that I was born. And so it's a number that's always been really significant to me. So that happened. And then I had an email from a really special client that came in, and I was answering it at 7:26, which again is the number. I'm like, okay, I get it. We're supposed to talk about signs this evening. So let's quickly talk about signs. Signs manifest in so many different ways. You can see numbers, repeating numbers. Both of the examples that I've given have been examples of repeating numbers or numbers that are significant to me. And that's a sign for you too. Numbers that are significant to you as well. Sometimes they'll show up on my phone. Like I notice them a lot on the phone. My battery percentage and the time will be at a similar place. So for example, earlier today, I had 25% battery. I know, bad Erin. And it was 225. So the 25% and the 25 from the 225. So different things like that can be signs. You can get signs in terms of hearing song lyrics, either in your head or turning on the radio or shuffling your playlist, and a song comes on that's significant and meaningful to you, and it says something to you. You can see signs outside of yourself, like rainbows showing up, or birds, or animals, or things that you have no control over. Signs and synchronicities are things that are happening outside of yourself that you don't have any control over, but speak to you and have meaning to you. When you are receiving signs, that's a really great way to know that you're in balance and you're in alignment, because signs are coming through and they happen when you're high vibing, when you're in the groove, when you're in the balance. And it's kind of like encouragement to keep encouraging you, moving you along, saying like, high five, you've got it. I see you, you see me, we're good. So if you're feeling out of sorts, but you're getting signs, know that you're on the right track. You're on the right path. Sometimes signs come up as like that celebration. Sometimes they come up because we have niggling feelings that are telling us, hey, maybe there's something that isn't quite right. And maybe you're thinking about that or you're feeling that. And then boom, a sign pops in. And that can be a confirmation and an affirmation of what you've been thinking about. Years ago, and I'm talking more than 25 years ago, not quite 30, but 25 anyway. I was having a really difficult time, and I remember I was driving along, and I was so caught up in my head, and suddenly this song came on. It's by Bedouin Sound Clash, and it's called "When the Night Feels My Song." And that is my Everything Is Going to Be Okay song. It just randomly came onto the radio at about 9 o'clock at night, the night that I just happened to be driving, and I was in my head, and it was this message that everything's going to be okay. So signs have a whole pile of different meanings, different reasons. If you're not 100% sure what a sign means, sit back, take a breath, and ask yourself, ask your intuition, ask your angels or your guides or God, source, universe, whoever, whatever you like to work with. Ask them for help in understanding, and trust that whatever comes in when you're thinking about it is exactly the answer that you're looking for, because you're getting the signs, you know you're in alignment, and so this can help to take things a little bit further. Awesome. Please, you guys let me know. Oh my goodness. I usually check the comments so much earlier, but you guys have run away from me. So hold on. I'll take a quick moment to say hello. Hello to Carrie. It's lovely to see you. And Cassandra, welcome. Doreen, I hope I've pronounced your name properly. It's wonderful to see you. Thank you. Hi, Zev. Thanks for joining us. And Andrea, it's so good to see you. Josie, you made it. Welcome. Margaret, hello. It's great to see you too. Mary Catherine, hi. Catherine, it's good to see you. Cassandra, so Cassandra's saying, this is odd, but 9/11 always pops up in my life. My mom's birthday was September 11th. Oh, so I think it's her way of reminding me she's with me. That is so beautiful. I love that. And that feels like that's such a wonderful confirmation too. I would go with that. And yeah, really pay attention to your mom's like feeling and memory popping up, and then also seeing the sign at the same time. That would be wonderful. Excellent confirmation that that's exactly what's happening. And Carrie says the song Signs Everywhere a Sign is in my head. Absolutely. I love it when song lyrics pop into my head, because again, it's a great confirmation of what you're thinking. Music has so much joy and so much love. Susan, welcome. It's great to see you. And Zeb says, I've been noticing a lot of 111, 1110, and 555. Yeah, absolutely. Check in and see what it feels like for you. For multiple ones, there are lots of different options, like people have kind of put it out there. Doreen used to talk about one being in a place of manifestation. So like, again, you're on track and focus on what you're thinking about. And Kyle Gray talks about 111 as being all of us connected, which is such a beautiful reminder. Like, we aren't separate, but we are all one together. Yeah, love it. Awesome. Welcome. Oh, Josie, I'm so glad that you're inviting the people. Hello, Alana. It's so good to see you. Oh, and hi, Linda. Linda's joining us from Lake Cowichan. Oh, Steve, it's great to see you. Hi. Leanne and Shelly and Yogi and Leslie from Ontario. Welcome. Christina and big hugs from Josie. Awesome. So I know that we want to get to readings. I'm going to be really, really quick because this has been coming up a lot lately. So we're currently in Mercury retrograde, and I'm not going to get too woo-woo on you. We're about halfway through right now. And basically, Mercury retrograde, part of what it does is it makes communication difficult and challenging. It plays with electronics. And I don't know about you guys, but my goodness, my electronics have been going a little bit crazy recently. So pay attention to that. And basically, when Mercury is in retrograde, there are a couple of things that I talk about, I feel. Make sure that you give the benefit of the doubt when you're communicating with somebody. Make sure that you're taking your time to be really clear about what it is that you want to say. And also, when you're speaking with somebody, give them the opportunity to speak as well. And again, give the benefit of the doubt. And 3, don't make any really, really big decisions. It's kind of like using the old telephone game, remember, where one person would start with a message and they'd whisper it to the next person and the next person and the next person and the next person, and then it came to the last person and the last person would share the message, and almost always it would be something convoluted and completely different from what the original person's message was. That's not the energy to be making really big choices and decisions, because things are all kind of can be twisted and complicated and not seeing things as they are. So take your time and slow down. The other thing that's been really significant about Mercury retrograde this time, I'm going to share one of my special snazzy dazzy slides with you, is, oops, there we go. Sometimes when things are falling apart, they may actually be falling into place. And this is really significant. If you think about cleaning up a room, and organizing a room, you pull everything out and you get everything that's hidden underneath furniture and in closets. You pull everything out and it gets so much messier before it can become clean again. And it's not until you can see everything in front of you that you can decide, yep, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to hold on to this. No, I'm going to get rid of that, and all of the other things. And so things become messier. Something that I've been noticing, particularly in the last several weeks and with this most recent Mercury retrograde, is so many people are feeling and experiencing those feelings of chaos. So in addition to that comment, this card pops up for me a lot, and I hope that you guys can see it. I hope I made it big enough. My lights were kind of shining on it as I was taking the picture. This is the Blessed Change card. It's from the Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle card deck, and it's one of my favorite cards in the deck. And yes, I do have very many favorites. But one of the things that I love about this card is basically the essence of what we've just been talking about. Everything feels really big and chaotic. We've got our mermaid here. She's turned topsy-turvy, upside down. Everything is kind of all over the place. But if you're able to zoom in and look closely at her face, you'll see even though she's upside down, she's smiling. And she's smiling because she knows that everything that's happening right now is helping her to let go of, to get rid of the things that no longer serve, the things that need to be changed, the things that they need to be adjusted in order to be able to come back into balance. And so when things feel like they're upside down like this, look for the underlying order in what's happening and where you are. You don't have to make really big choices or big decisions. Sometimes it's a matter of saying, hey, something obviously wasn't working the way that I thought that it needed to work. And now universe is stepping in and saying, let's change things up. Let's get things moving. Let's get things back on track. And then the very last thing that I want to share is another card that's been popping up for me. And this one might seem a little bit unusual. It's the Deception card. And this is from the Romance Angels Oracle card deck. And on the surface, it looks kind of scary. It looks kind of mean. It looks kind of rude. But what you'll notice is that we've got all of these people and all of them are wearing masks. And we can't be honest with someone else until we are honest first with ourselves. And for me, that's the really big meaning in this card, is that there's a need for honesty. There's a need for honesty with ourselves, and there's potentially a need for honesty in other relationships or other situations that we're in. What is it that I want? What's working for me? What's not working for me? What is it that you want? What's working for you? What's not working for you? Are we still on the same page? So there are lots of things that we first need to ask ourselves to become clear on in order to be able to be honest with the other people in our lives, particularly people that we have significant relationships with. So allow yourself to take some time, especially if things are feeling kind of chaotic, to ask yourself some questions, to come into a place of honesty with yourself. Because until you're honest with yourself, it's going to be really difficult and challenging to move forward in a way that feels healthy and positive and good for you. Awesome. So let me just take a look here. I think I've missed some hellos. Namaste to Zev. Danielle, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for welcoming the rants. Appreciate it, Zev. And let me see. And yes, the eclipse. Absolutely. Yogi's talking about that too. Slow electronics and stuff. Yeah, things have been glitching all over the place. It's been crazy. Ashley, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad that the reminder worked out for you. Let me see. Zev saying timelines are varied. The other thing that's significant is that time isn't real. Absolutely. There are lots of shifts and things that are happening right now. Hello to Julie. It's great to see see you. Brianne, if you want to wait, we're not quite at questions yet, and I will ask for a specific question. Hello, Tanis. Hello, Jenna. It's good to see both of you. Hello, Kimberly. Welcome. Hold on to your questions. We're not there yet. And also, I'm going to be asking people for specific questions. If you're not asking a specific question, I'm just going to jump over you and go to the next person. Let me see. Okay, so let's take a look. We're going to do the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading. So the way that this works is this gives everybody an opportunity to receive a reading, to receive a message. So think about a question or several questions. It doesn't matter. You can receive more than one card. And think about your question and clear your mind and ask yourself, ask your intuition, God, source, universe, angels, ascended masters, other beings of light, whoever, whatever you work with. Ask them which crystal will best represent the card that you need to receive your answer for today. So the first card that we have is going to be for rose quartz. Then we have blue apatite and rainbow moonstone. So I'm just going to pick a card for each of those. And unfortunately, my picture taking abilities didn't work too well for me today. So that is actually a pink rose quartz, and it is actually a blue rainbow moonstone. Okay, awesome. Let me take this down. Okay, so if you chose rose quartz, the card that came up for you is clairsentience. This card is Archangel Raguel's card. Notice recurring physical and emotional feelings as they signify divine guidance. So clairsentience is one of the 4 primary ways that we receive intuitive messages and information. It comes through as physical sensation in the body, and also from an emotional point of view. We can be picking up what's happening physically and emotionally for the people around us, for our loved ones, and it can also be stuff that's coming up for us as well. So part of what I would say is, with everything that we've talked about so far, pay attention to the emotions that are coming up for you, particularly if they're really big and they're in your face, because part of what they're signifying is that this is what we need to focus on. With everything all jumbled all over the place, the things that we in the past maybe have been able to cope with and deal with and just kind of push forward and push past, we don't have the capacity that we usually do to keep pushing past and pushing beyond those big emotions. So those emotions are coming up to the forefront. So if you've chosen rose quartz, the encouragement that's coming up here is to make sure that you're paying attention to the emotions that are coming up, coming to the forefront for you, because these are indicators to what you're needing to work on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual basis to kind of get over this hump. It's actually part of that kind of chaos and coming back into balance. If you chose the blue apatite card, ooh, I love this. The card that we have here is Akasha. And her message is, you are a spiritual teacher. You have the ability to counsel others and help them awaken their spiritual gifts and divine life mission. And so part of what's coming up here is actually not only to help and to support others, but first and foremost, to become your own teacher. So if you're in a place where you're struggling with something or something doesn't make sense, step outside of yourself for a moment. And if you were the person who was talking to somebody who was going through the experiences that you're going through, what messages would you have for them? What insight could you share with them to support them and to help them? Allow yourself to move into that teaching role, and at the same time, become the student as well. In order to be really helpful and supportive teachers, we need to also be open to learning something new, to trying something that maybe we haven't tried before, but to be open to change, be open to learn, be open to grow, and be open to heal. But you have more knowledge and awareness than maybe you're giving yourself credit for. So allow yourself the space to trust yourself, to be loving, supportive, and compassionate with yourself. And then the last card for anybody who chose Rainbow Moonstone, this is interesting. The card that we have here is the Father Healing card. And the message is, your personal power increases as you give any father-related issues to heaven. So this one's always been a little bit of an interesting card for me. There's a mother healing card in the deck, and I feel kind of similarly about them. I move this into bigger than just father, but also the energy, the connection that we have with authority, with restriction, with encouragement, with support, with being nurtured and guided, and encouraged along the path. So there's, a big part of the energy that's coming up is looking at our power in this situation and how we can move forward in a way that feels comfortable, that feels empowered, and where we're feeling supported and encouraged. In addition, also part of what's coming up is that part of the challenge that you're experiencing right now could have to do with a male role model or authoritative figure in your life as well, and just taking a look at the balance and dynamic that may be present for you in this. And then the last one that's also popping up, it feels like we've got a couple of people that this one may resonate for, that you have help, love, and support that's coming from a father or parental figure, but likely a father figure who has crossed over, who wants you to know that he's around, helping, loving, and supporting you through all of the change you're going through. Awesome. Oh, cool, Corey. I just saw your message here. Interesting. Rainbow Moonstone was the card that you chose. Awesome. And Josie as well. Kristen says, let me see. Where am I? I'm all over the place here. I've lost people. I saw Kristen said something. Oh, hello to Kristen. Hello to Tatiana. It's great to see you. Wonderful. Okay, so let's go to asking your specific, there we go. Ask your your specific questions. Awesome. So I'm going to start taking your reading questions now. So first of all, please be specific with the question that you're asking. I'm not doing any mediumship today or health related questions. So both of those, if you're asking one of those, I'm just going to pass by your question, and please make sure that your question is specific. Okay, let's take a look. Everybody came in with all of their questions. It's like you guys know what to do and you're just waiting. Okay, I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, Colleen's saying that blue apatite is your favorite crystal. It's one of my favorites too. It's so good to see you, Corey. I'm glad that you popped on tonight. And hello to Tanis. Okay, so Heidi, we've got Heidi here. Okay, and we're asking about Kay, and does he know how much I care about him, and is he okay? Okay, so when I ask Heidi about Kay, I get a flip-flop. I'm feeling like I'm in and then I'm out and then I'm in and then I'm out. It does feel like he is aware of you. He's aware of how you feel about him for the most part, but he shows me that he keeps kind of pulling back and pulling away. Yeah, I'm feeling some distance that's coming up between the two of you, and I'm feeling a lot of challenge that's coming through too. I'm wanting to encourage some additional distance here, just because it feels like there's more energy that you're putting in than is coming back out, and it feels kind of like it's there's like a flooding sensation that's kind of coming up. So the feeling that I have is to create some space, at least for now, because it's not being reciprocated the way that you want and need it to be at this point. It is something that could change in the future, but at this point it feels like it's time to kind of pull back your energy, just because, as I said, it doesn't feel like it's being reciprocated at this point, and so like time and space is needed. When I ask if he's okay, I'm I'm feeling like I'm being brushed off. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Which isn't necessarily an answer, because it does feel like there is something that's going on, but he's showing me that he is able to deal with it. And there's this feeling of again, like boundary that's coming up, not to be crossing over this. There's this sense of kind of weight, and when I have the energy, I will come to you. So he is aware, and the feeling that I have is to start putting your energy elsewhere, because if there's too much energy that's going into it, then it just kind of floods it and everything kind of starts to drown and die. You need to give time and space, not only for him, but I'm seeing for yourself too. We're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what message does Heidi need to know with regards to Kay? What's happening? So the card that we have here is let yourself receive. Allow others to give you loving care, receive without guilt or apologies. So I see this again as kind of being a confirmation of the messages that came up for you, is that there's a lot that you're giving out, and that in order for things to come back into balance, you need to be in a position where you're able to receive. If you are giving, and there isn't anything that's coming back because things are kind of closed off, closed down, then everything is completely out of balance. You need to be in a place where you can receive, and the other person can't give until you give them space. So take some space and allow yourself to receive. The other message that kind of comes up with that is allow yourself to be open to things coming together and manifesting in a different way. And so a different way may mean a different relationship, a different connection, new things that are coming together and happening, but create some space. I'm so grateful that you joined us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Let me see. Andrea, it's great to see you. I am doing well. I was thinking about you the other day. Andrea says, I got signed to a principal agency with speaking roles. Congratulations. Will I get the role that I just auditioned for? I'm hearing yes. I keep getting like, yes, 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 over and over and over again. It kind of reminds me a little bit of affirmation and manifestation work. So I want to encourage you to keep doing that, but also with the expectation that it's already happened and that it's like, yeah, I've got it. So when we manifest, we can put lots of energy in, and it's like we go right in and we kind of get blinders. Where what I'm seeing is you're sitting back and allowing it to come to you. You're not pushing, you're not forcing, but you're allowing everything to come together to kind of sit as it needs to. So things are coming together. I do feel like you've got this part, but just make sure that you're not sitting over it. And the other thing that I'm seeing is I've got two other I want to say applications. I guess audition would probably be the more appropriate word. I've got two more auditions that feel like they're coming up in the next 3 weeks. So work feels like it will become quite plentiful over the next several months. And it feels like you might actually be in a position where you're having to turn something down just because the schedule and the timing isn't going to work. So it feels like there's lots of opportunity that's coming up for you. Okay, so the card that we have for you is pay attention. Notice repetitious signs and your inner guidance, as this can yield valuable information. So one of the things is really important when we receive messages and signs is to go in to ask what it is, what the sign is confirming, what the message is, because sometimes we can become caught on it's this thing, it's just this thing, it's this only this thing, and universe is kind of like, no, you're getting the sign, but it's something else, and that's why we keep giving it to you, that's why we keep sending it to you. So allow yourself to be open to it being something other than what you think it is, and come into your heart, connect with your intuition, connect with God, source, universe, angels, ascended masters, whoever, whatever works for you, and ask for clarity around what exactly it is. It's kind of like, yeah, I got the sign. Is it this thing? And then be open to getting a no. Is when we're asking our intuition, we need to be completely open. We need to be completely unbiased, because we can run roughshod over those messages if our energy is too strong and too insistent. So step back, breathe, disconnect from the energy that you have that you're putting into, I want this particular and I want this specific answer, and allow it to be whatever it will be. But it feels like you're on the right track. I keep hearing yes over and over in your mind. So just go about your life with the expectation that it is coming, it is happening, while at the same time applying for other or auditioning for other parts that do look equally interesting. Because as I said, I've got 2 more auditions that are coming up around you, and it feels really exciting. I'm so excited for you, Andrea. I'm so grateful that you popped on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and abundance and manifestation energy your way. Okay, so we've got Margaret here. Hi, Margaret. Thanks for joining us. What do I need to know about new job prospects and the experience I can expect to have for the next position I successfully interview for? Oh, you've got it there. Okay, so let's take a look and see. So the energy and intention that I have coming up with your question is that we want to take a look at the next job interviewing process, what to expect from it and how to feel. Let me see. So new job prospects. I see a whole lineup of them coming up. So there's a sense that something has shifted and changed, and it's kind of opened up your perspective, or it's broadened a horizon. But suddenly it's starting to open up new possibilities. And these feel like things that maybe you haven't completely considered before, or haven't considered in this particular way. And so I'm seeing almost like the job search itself feels like it's opening up and it's creating new opportunity from that perspective. When I ask about it, it does feel like there are several application processes that you're going through, not necessarily because you aren't getting them, but possibly because there's a bit of an amalgamation of several different smaller jobs that are going to make up one bigger overall job. So it feels like that's part of the reason that there are several interviews and application processes that you're going through. But I'm feeling you coming into a sense of balance and a sense of comfort with the job interviewing and process moving forward. So there's almost this feeling of anxiety kind of lifting and disappearing, that you're no longer anxious about going through the process. It's just kind of the expectation is that if it fits, then it's going to work because it's going to work for you. It's going to work for me, and it's good. Or it's not going to fit, in which case I'm glad that it didn't work out, because that means that I move on to the next one, and that there are going to be enough opportunities that come up that allow you to really pick and choose where it is that you want to be. We're gonna go. We've got lots of mermaid and dolphin energy that's popping up this evening. So we're just going to ask, what does Margaret need to know about the job process or the looking process? The card that we have here is wait. Don't rush into action right now. Bide your time for better results. So when this card comes up, it's usually because we are being presented with some options, but they're just not right. They're just not fulfilling things. So during that waiting process, I'm not seeing you sitting around just kind of twiddling your thumbs. It feels like you are being active in the process. So it feels like you're looking at different avenues, or kind of thinking outside of the box. For example, you wanted to do administrative work. That's the only one that's popping up into my head. Let's say that was what you wanted to do. Instead of saying, okay, well, in order to do administrative work, I need to go and find an office space so that I can work in an office. Maybe instead you're looking at administration and you're saying, okay, well, I can do this really well. I want to look at how I would do this virtually. I want to take a look at different people who might be interested in this particular service. Maybe there are some things that I can brush up on in order to make myself really appealing for this particular type of job that I want to have. So wait doesn't mean like sitting back and waiting. Wait is kind of a preparation because the opportunity hasn't quite presented itself yet. And with any sort of manifestation work, I always like to include the energy of this or something better, because maybe we've been getting the intuition, we've been receiving the messages, we've been getting all of the signs, and we think it's this thing, but it's actually only this with all of this on the side. And so that allows this or something better, allows us the opportunity to move into something that feels more appropriate or that feels better for us. So give yourself lots of opportunity moving forward. But as I said, we've got lots of options that are coming up. It feels like I want to say in a relatively short amount of time, but I'm seeing that it's kind of like a pause, and then there's some activity, and then there's a pause and a little more activity. So in that initial activity, I do see something popping up, and it feels like it's a fit. It feels like you go for it, but it's possibly not exactly, or not everything that you need in order to fulfill the what you're looking at. So yes, that's the message that we have for you, Margaret. I'm so grateful that you joined us and that you were able to pick up all of the ramblings that I just gave you. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Ashley, it's great to see you. Okay, so Ashley says, I recently reconnected with someone from my past, someone that has been a huge force in my life, good and bad, and then went on to mess it up out of fears and old trauma. Weeks before we reconnected, I kept seeing 222 every day. It's been almost a few weeks since we have talked, and I'm again seeing 222 all the time, and I'm just wondering if you can see whether I need to be patient and trust in timing or let this go. Okay. And it's kind of cut off there, but I'm so glad that you got the notification. All right. So when I check in, one of the big things that I have coming up is just the energy in general right now is not a time to be making really big decisions. There's this sense of, things are still feeling kind of unsteady. They're kind of complicated. They're a little bit all over the place. And there's a sense of needing to wait in order for things to kind of calm down so that we're not making really big decisions in really agitated states. The sense that I have is that this is a relationship that is coming back around. There is opportunity in it, but that I'm kind of wanting to just dip my toe in. So it's interesting what you're saying about, let me see. I can't quite get it, but oh yes, went on to mess it up out of fears and old trauma, because it does feel like there is stuff that's being triggered here, and that's a really important thing to look at, because that says, hey, there's something more going on that I need to make sure that I'm looking at and that I'm addressing. And part of the reason that this relationship is coming back is so that you can look at that and you can address it. Red flags or pink flags or orange flags, whatever you want to call them, they come up to encourage us to make sure that we're looking to see that we're taking everything into consideration. And they come up to encourage us to slow down, so that we aren't moving into things really, really quickly. I'm seeing actually this as being a really positive thing, especially since it's something that you're recognizing is happening. I do see that there is an openness, but it also feels like there are some past behaviors that are coming up that are coming to the surface that do need to be addressed. So, I don't see this as having been something that you messed up, but more that it's something that was saying, hey, we really need to look at this. We really need to make sure that we're talking about this. We really need to make sure that we don't go through this again, because there's enough there that is tweaking and triggering things for you that you need to address it. But the sense that I do have is that the relationship is coming back around. Things don't feel like they're finished. It does feel like it's important to connect. And I'm flip-flopping because I keep hearing closure. That part of the reason that you're connecting is that there's a sense of closure. But I also see that there's a possibility that this relationship comes back around. This relationship, if it's going to move forward for you, is going to need to transform. It's going to need to transform on your part, and it's going to need to transform on the other person's part as well. This is a learning and a healing with the opportunity for growth and love and connection all with it. It's not what I would call an easy relationship, but that doesn't mean that it isn't worthwhile. So there is a feeling of encouragement to step into it, but really pay attention to those flags and those triggers when they come up, because they're there for a reason, and it's important to address them. We're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck, Ashley, and we're just going to see what message is coming up. What does Ashley need to know? I'm hearing that the signs are right on. Like, you're right on with the signs. So keep paying attention and keep asking, when it comes up, what does this mean? So the card that we have here is Crystal Clear Intentions. This is Archangel Michael, and his message is, be clear about what you desire and focus upon it with unwavering faith. Crystal clear, be really, really clear about what it is that you want. One of the things that's really significant about this is Archangel Michael helps and supports us on our life path and our life journey. And part of that is romantic partnership. It's all sorts of relationships, friendships, family relationships. There's so many that are kind of balled up into how he helps us in our overall life path. And so part of what this is saying to me is that, yeah, this is happening for a reason. Absolutely. When it comes to being really crystal clear about what it is that you want, don't focus on, I want this relationship, this partnership with this particular person. focus on the experiences that you want to have in relationship and partnership. Maybe it's, I want a partner who listens to me, that I can talk to, who I can listen to them, who, they are as invested in learning and growing and healing and improving themselves as I am. And that's something that we can do together. And so rather than trying to kind of pigeonhole somebody into what it is that you want in your manifestations and your affirmations, focus on the experience you want to have. If that person is the person who kind of fulfills and fits a lot of that, then naturally the relationship will become stronger. But if in manifesting that person isn't a good fit, then they're naturally going to start to fall away, or you're going to be getting signs that, oh, no, this doesn't feel good, this doesn't feel right. And then you're able to adjust and make your choices and decisions to create room for the person that does fit. So it feels like you're in a pretty amazing place and that there's lots of opportunity. It's just important for you to be clear about what it is that you want, the things that are important to you. And that if you do decide to pursue this relationship more, to make sure that you are paying attention to those triggers that are coming up, because they're coming up for a reason. It doesn't mean that it has to end things, but it just means that you need to have a lot of communication around what's happening and what's going on, so you don't go through all the old stuff again. Ashley, I'm so incredibly glad that you got the notification and that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. And Julie, it's so good to see you. Blue Appetite. Should I stay in my current job until the end come this fall, or start looking for a new job? Okay, so I'm not seeing you making any really big changes. And in fact, I think that I'm going to, like, carte blanche say that that's exactly the message that we have for everybody coming up. Woo, we don't see any really big changes. But I do see you starting to look. So there is a sense that there's a shift that's coming up kind of May, June, possibly into early July. So it sounds like your position will naturally come to an end in the fall. I'm seeing that there's possibly something that's coming up for you a little bit before that, but I'm not seeing you like disconnecting from where you are to plug into something else. It feels like you're waiting until you have something before you give your resignation or your notice that you're going to be leaving. It doesn't feel like you're going to be leaving them in the lurch. It feels like either the tasks and things that you do or that are part of your job, that either they're kind of coming to an end at around that time, or somebody else is able to kind of pick them up, or they just kind of fall off to the side. So it doesn't feel like you're leaving anybody in a bad spot, because I'm seeing that there are some natural conclusions that are coming up. But I do really want to encourage you to pay attention to job opportunities that would come up May, June, July of this year, because it feels like there is a change that happens before the end of the session in the fall. Let's see, we're going to go to the messages from your angels oracle card deck. And interestingly, that was also the deck that we used for Blue Appetite. So let's see, what do we have coming up? Ooh, we have Celeste coming through, and Celeste's message is a happy move to a new home or place of employment is in the works. This movement will usher in positive new energy. I don't think I could have picked a better card for you for the question that you have. And to me, this feels like this is just confirmation of the messages that came up, that there is something new that's coming. It's coming within the next several months, May, June, July. I mean, we're already actually the middle of April. I was thinking we were in March. So yeah, I mean, May is just 2 weeks away. So there is something that's coming up within a relatively short amount of time. It feels like it's in alignment with the things that you want, what you want to be focusing on. Lots of opportunity. And I'm wanting to talk about arts. Art is feeling like it's significant in this. So some form of administration or being involved, but art is significant and important. Julie, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. I'm super excited about this new job coming up. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Tatiana, it's so good to see you. Okay, so tell me about this man I'm acquainted with. Am I sensing the same curiosity in him for me that I have for him? Friend, brotherly, best bud, lover, more. It feels right. It feels natural. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm feeling that I'm wanting to get kind of comfy. I'm wanting to settle in with him. Not that you're settling down or anything along those lines, but I feel like I'm coming and sitting next to him and we're just comfortable spending time together. I'm actually feeling disinclined to put any sort of label on it. There's a sense of things moving really slowly, that we're not moving too far ahead of ourselves in terms of like, what is this? What's going on? Because it feels like there's a really natural evolution that's coming together, that's happening. And part of that is because it feels like you guys are trying lots of different things on. It reminds me of trying on a pair of pants. Leggings fit differently from like a plateau pant, fit differently from like a jean, fit differently from a skirt. So it feels like there are lots of different aspects of this relationship that you guys are kind of testing out to see what works best for you. And I'm kind of wanting to keep communication open around that. This is somebody who feels like he is really in touch with his feelings, with what it is that he wants, what it is that he needs. And I see him also being in a place where he's not wanting to tie anything down at this point, but to allow things to evolve, to see what happens. And it also feels like there's a bit of fluidity that comes in with this as well, because when you do this, the fluidity that it allows is that, okay, well, we can allow this to move into this and see what this feels like. And then we can allow it to move into that and see what that feels like. And then once we've kind of explored and experienced, we have an idea of where we want to go and what we want to do. So I'm seeing him being particularly disinclined from saying this is what this is. And so if that's something that's important to you, just be aware that that doesn't feel like that's something that's kind of on his agenda at this point. So just to be really aware of that, and to make sure that that's something that you're comfortable with and that you're okay with too. But I do see that there is definitely the potential for some connection in this relationship, but it feels like it's undefined, and it's undefined for a while. And part of what comes through with that is both of you needing to be okay with it being undefined and just allowing it to be what it is. If you are going to be exploring from a romantic and a sexual point of view, then make sure, since it's undefined, that you have that conversation around what your boundaries are in terms of one or both of you exploring in similar ways with other people. Is that something that you guys are both okay with? Is this something that, while we're kind of figuring out what this is, that we need to be exclusive with each other? Take a look and see. It feels like that's part of the conversation that the two of you can have. But I do feel that there is opportunity for lots of love. It's just love in lots of different ways. Let's take a look. So we're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck and see what messages are coming up for you, Tatiana. I'm hearing a ready, set, go. So something's coming up. The card we have here is Take Back Your Power. And this is really interesting. This is Archangel Raziel, and his message is: use your God-given power and intention to manifest blessings in your life. So for me, this is kind of moving out of being in a passive role and moving into a place where, I'm wanting to experience certain things in my life, and that I have the power to bring those experiences into my life if I allow for some fluidity with it as well, where I'm not tying things down, but I'm allowing myself to flow. So it's really interesting because it feels like part of the energy that's coming up is encouraging you not to try to tie down to things, but to allow yourself some fluidity. So yeah, it feels like you're exactly where you need to be, that this is a relationship that will allow you to explore, and that the focus is less on the person and more on what are the experiences that you want to have while you're here at this time in your life. I'm so grateful that you joined us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Hi, JC. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you made it on this evening. Okay, so we've got Danielle here. Hi, Danielle. Thanks for joining us. Danielle says, my husband and I have gone through a challenging year together, as I've been healing from a significant injury, and then he was hurt and awaiting a second surgery. When will this transformational time be complete for us? And will we be able to start enjoying life again and put this behind us? Are we just about through this? Danielle, first and foremost, I want to send lots of love and lots of support to both of you, because I can feel the ups and downs that you guys have been navigating as individuals and then as a couple. And I feel the tiredness that's coming up for both of you. So when I go to your question, which specifically is, when will this transformational time be complete? And will we be able to start enjoying life again? So it feels like it's a graduated completion. It's not one day you're in everything and then the next day you're out. So there is a sense of it being a gradual. The feeling that I have is, I wanted to say that you were coming out first, but actually I'm seeing that there's some resolution that's coming up on your husband's point of view. So there's something that he's able to wrap up, that he's able to bring to conclusion. So I didn't quite catch if he's still waiting on surgery, but my thought would be that it's likely that he gets his date and then he's kind of coming into a point in place where he's like, okay, now I can move into recovery. I'm not waiting. Things are moving forward in terms of my health and healing. And so there's a sense that things are starting with him. And it feels like it goes back to that surgery date. And I'm seeing I's are dotted and T's are crossed, which says to me that the surgical staff and surgical team are really on the ball and making sure that everything is as it needs to be, because it feels like there's part of his surgery that's a little bit complex and there's a little bit of fancy footwork, but he's okay. And it feels like on the other side of it, he's able to move into recovery. And that feels, I've got kind of August popping up around that. So if he doesn't already have the surgery date, it feels like that's kind of when it's coming in, or that's the point at which he's in his healing, where he's like, okay, I feel like I can get back to living my life. When I ask about what's happening for you, I'm actually seeing that you're already in a place where some aspects of what you've been going through have been completed. I feel like we're still waiting on something, but it feels like this is something that it's just kind of an annoying drone in the back of your head. It's kind of like it's annoying, it's frustrating, but it's not front and center. And so you're able to do other stuff while you've got this annoyance that is just kind of bugging you. So it feels like that's kind of where you are. So I do feel that things are starting to progress. As we move into the fall, it feels like the two of you are able to relax. And so before we are able to like kind of get into life and enjoying life again, it feels like there's a decompression time. Because things have been happening for so long, I kind of want to pinch myself a little bit because it feels like it doesn't completely feel like it's real. So as things are starting to come together and are starting to get better, make sure that you're both taking time to believe what's happening, to believe that things are getting better, and don't wait for the other shoe to drop. Because sometimes when we've been in place of challenge for so long, and if it's been one thing after the next, after the next, after the next, it can be really easy to anticipate that it's going to continue to get worse, or there's going to be another thing coming. And it feels like you guys are both coming to a point in your journeys where you can say, hey, like there isn't more that's coming. This is it. And we can start moving forward. So I've got the fall coming up as being a really significant time for both of you. It doesn't mean that there aren't still times in between when things are feeling good or they're feeling like they're getting better. But it feels like as we come into the fall, you're truly able to relax because it's done. And as we move into the winter of this year and the spring of next year, it feels like you guys are building up your energy, building up your steam, and life is really getting back to where you're wanting it to be, both from like an activity point of view, from a work point of view, from a travel point of view. Things feel like they're starting to come back together. We're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what does Danielle need to know? What does Danielle need to know about getting through the time that they're in right now? Music for manifesting. This is kind of an interesting card. To manifest rapidly, think of your desire while you chant, hum, sing, or play music. When this card comes up, it's basically saying we need to lift energy and vibration. One of the ways that we can do that is through music. We can do that through laughter. We can do that through a whole pile of different things, but making sure that you're taking time out of the day to let go of the stresses, the worries, the things that are in your head, do things that you enjoy. So whether it's creating music or listening to music or humming or singing or laughing, making sure that you're taking time out to enjoy. Not only because from a mental point of view, that helps you with moving forward, but also it keeps your energy up so that when you are dealing with things that are challenging, you aren't going down as low and you don't have to work as hard to come up again. So invite music, invite joy, invite play, and that will help with the process that you're going through. But there is an end in sight. Things are getting better, and it feels like you are getting back into, regular life with regular stresses really soon. Danielle, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and lots of healing to you and your husband too. Christina, hi, thanks for joining us. Okay, so Christina's saying, please tell me why I keep dreaming about the same person every night for weeks. Different dream every night, but it's so vivid. I feel like it's becoming low-key obsessive. Okay, let's take a look. So when we're dreaming, it's our subconscious's time to come to the forefront. And one of the things that I'd encourage you to do is to make sure that you're taking time throughout the day, throughout the week, to meditate. And you can meditate in a whole pile of different ways. You can do guided meditations. You can go out for a walk and just allow your mind to kind of think and to wander. But giving your subconscious opportunity while you're awake can be really helpful for understanding what's going on in dream time, because dreams usually become obsessive like this when we're not paying attention to something in our regular day-to-day life. And this is the only way that our subconscious has to get our attention. It's kind of like somebody poking on our shoulder like this to get our attention. That's what your dreams are doing right now, is it says that, we're needing to focus on something. Now, you didn't say here if this is somebody that you know, or if this is somebody who's kind of new in your life, or hasn't come into your life yet. And I'm seeing lots of characteristics of this person. It doesn't feel like it's the person themselves, but it does feel like it has something to do with the characteristics that the person is embodying. So that kind of says to me that maybe you aren't familiar with this person. I'm just going to do a really quick little scroll down and just see. Oh, you guys, we have a spammer. I'm sorry. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Christina says that she knows them and has known them for 20 years. Okay. So yeah, there's something that's coming up. There's something that's coming up with them. First of all, there is something that's coming up with them. I'm wanting to get in touch with them. So sometimes our subconscious will put somebody in our dreams, in our head, because we need to connect with them, or because they're going to be popping back into our life. And it's just kind of a little bit, it's almost like a doorbell that's being rung. But I'm also seeing that there's something else. It feels both like it is the person and like it's something else that you're needing to focus on. So I do see this person popping back into your life, that there's something that you're needing to look at, but it's not everything to do with this person. There are also attributes or characteristics or things that drove you crazy about this person that feel like they're manifesting somewhere else. And your intuition or your subconscious's best way to get your attention is to keep throwing this person in your dreams and in your path. So what I would say is, when you go to sleep tonight and for the next, say, week, set some intentions before you go to sleep. Say, hey, subconscious, I know you're trying to get my attention. You have my attention. I'm trying to understand why you're putting this person into my dreams. So help me to figure out, is it because of like attributes, as I said? Is it because this person's coming back into my life? Is it because I need to reach out to this person for some closure, or to invite this person back into my life? Help me to understand why you're bringing this person back in. I'm feeling that there's something that needs to be learned here, which is part of the reason that they're being brought back. And I'm also feeling that this person is actually coming back into your life. Either they're coming back in or you're reaching out and connecting with them. If this is somebody you don't want to have any contact and connection with, then what you can do is you can connect with their higher self. And if there's like forgiveness or releasing or frustration you need to get out, do that with the higher self so that you don't have to do it with the person in person. But yeah, there's definitely some learning at the minimum that's going on. And also it feels like there's some sort of behavior or something that's being exhibited in other areas of your life that your subconscious is trying to warn you about. We're going to go to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and we're just going to ask, what does Christina need to know about the dreams that she's having right now, and particularly about this person who's coming up in her dreams? Patience. Archangel Jophiel, oh, your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize. Still, they need nurturing and patience. So what that says to me is that something still needs to happen in order for you to get full clarity, which is incredibly frustrating. I get a kick out of the fact that it talks about dreams, like your dreams. So that does feel like that's confirmation that, yeah, we absolutely have the right card, but there's more that needs to come to the surface in order to truly understand what the heck's going on. But do that exercise that I just mentioned, where set your intentions, talk to your subconscious before you go to sleep at night, and ask for some help and some clarity as to why this person's coming into your dreams, and kind of throw out a couple of options and ask that be addressed during your dream time in a way that you'll understand and that you can remember in the morning. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm sending a big hug, lots of love and support your way. Oh, Corey, I'm so glad that you joined us this evening. Thanks for popping on. Let me see. So we've got Carrie here. Hi, Carrie. So Carrie's asking about ascended master messages. What do we have coming up? So actually, this was a message that came up for a client earlier today, and I've got Maitreya coming up for you. And I have to admit that I don't know a huge amount about him, but the way that he came through with rainbows. He came through with joy, and he comes through with laughter and a sense of peace, a sense of excitement, a feeling of kind of settling in. So being able to kind of step back, step out, step away. So things that are chaotic and filled with drama or challenge and difficulty, there's just this feeling of stepping back and being able to experience what is outside of the physical reality, and moving into a sense of joy, moving into a sense of play, into a sense of fun, really paying attention to rainbows, the energy of rainbows, the signs of rainbows coming through and coming to the forefront. Part of the reason this message is coming up is it feels like you're feeling or have been kind of bogged down in some energy. And Maitreya is saying, no, don't be doing that. Lift yourself up, lift yourself out. As you lift yourself up and lift yourself up, and lift yourself out, others come with you. There is joy. You maintaining your energy is part of what helps others to come up and meet you where you are, rather than having to go down and yank them up to join you where you are. There's this sense of joy, peace, love that we're focusing on, and we aren't focusing on anger or frustration or hurt or any of those kind of less comfortable emotions. And I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing and not going down into those places when those things are coming up, but there's this sense of enough is enough, put it off to the side. We're going to focus more on joy. We're focusing on love. We're focusing on light. And he is helping to lift you up, to raise you with that. So again, Maitreya, he's, I believe, one of the Buddhas, and joy, laughter, and love are all of the messages that he has coming forth for you, my friend. We're going to go to the archangels, and we're just going to ask for additional messages and information. What is it that Carrie needs to focus on right now to promote that joy, laughter, and love? Leadership. So this is Archangel Gabriel, and really kind of ties into that message that we had. It's time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others, guiding others by your own example. So rather than getting down and getting feisty and punchy and boom, boom. Raise up and out of that energy and vibration. That doesn't exist where you are, where there is joy, where there's love, where there's laughter. And you need a bit of that. It's almost like a break, a vacation that allows you to come back with a different perspective to address other challenges that might be coming up around you. Carrie, I'm so grateful that you popped on this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Sending big hugs, lots of love, and of course, joy and rainbows your way too. Let me see. Okay, we've got rolling motivation here. Hi, Steve. How's it going? Steve saying, I feel like I have worked hard to not be money or result focused lately, just have experiences and have fun. What do you see as collaboration or the thing that is next? First of all, congratulations. I really want to celebrate that for you. It feels like a big weight has lifted off of your chest, off of your shoulders, and there's a sense of like play and fun and excitement and feeling of adventure rather than hustle that's coming up. And that feels awesome. What do we have coming up next? So I'm seeing you starting to move into a front end person, but also a back end person. So there's this sense of you doing you, the things that you love, the things that you enjoy. And as a result, things are naturally kind of progressing and moving along. The things that you've been working hard to manifest and to create, they're coming to fruition and things are feeling good. So there's this sense of things moving along. And part of what I'm seeing is I'm seeing you helping and supporting others in figuring that out for themselves too. I mean, when I look at you, Steve, you're kind of the epitome of a leader. And one of the biggest things has been getting out of your own way in order to be able to help others. And this feels like this is a really big step, a really big part of you being able to do that is like, hey, I'm just here for the experiences. I'm not chasing anything down. I'm just going to enjoy the experience of being here. What is it that I want to focus on? What is it that's bringing me joy? What is it that I want to explore and experiment with now? And it feels like bringing that level of energy rather than the underlying fear, like this has to work or things are going to get really desperate and really dire. It feels like that mentality shift has allowed you to come into this point, come into this place where all of the seeds that you've sown are coming to fruition and you're able to harvest. When I look at what's coming up, as I said, I'm seeing you helping and supporting others in seeing that. That feels really soon. I was going to say that I feel like I'm almost seeing you working with somebody on a financial level, that the two of you are kind of tag teaming where you're helping other people who are self-employed or just people in their day-to-day lives figuring out financially how to be able to do what you're doing. That feels a little soon. And I don't think that's the next one, but it feels like that's coming. So potentially this is something that you're learning from somebody else that you're then able to share with others. But I do see it being collaborative in terms of the two of you being able to share. And then the other thing that I have feels like it's completely off to the other side. I've got something else that you're creating. There's this sense of fun, the sense of play, and there's no sense of hustle to it at all. I just can't put my finger on it. Like I want to say that this is like some sort of story. So, I mean, potentially we're moving into like sharing stories, sharing experiences, but there's more to it than that. And I kind of wonder actually if this is connected to and related to kids. So I don't know, the kids that I was seeing felt like they were kind of like grades 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in that range. But then I'm also seeing like graduating age kids. I'm going to say that there's something that's coming up with teachers and students and kids. And again, there's this sense of storytelling and sharing that really feels like it's coming to the forefront. But man, there's something else that's coming up too. I mean, there's no lack of things to do and to explore for you, because there's always something more. You kind of just keep generating things. And I think that's one of the things that's really awesome and amazing about the experience that you're having, is that you just keep generating the next thing. Well, what's the next thing I'm going to do? What's the next thing I'm going to explore? What's the next thing I'm going to enjoy? And so actually with all of that in your head, the next thing is calming the beast in your head to be able to channel your energy, because the ideas are infinite, but the energy to carry them out is finite. And it feels like that's a big part of what you're learning to balance is, I've got this amazing idea that's coming to the forefront. I'm going to write it down because I'm still focusing on this thing here. But yeah, there's no shortage of ideas, but I do want to encourage you to look at some form of teaching and sharing that's coming up. And there's also something that's coming up on a financial level as well. And then there's something else. I'm going to say that it's meditation, mindfulness, and something that's creative as well. So some creative projects. And the creative projects, those are just yours. You're not sharing or selling or doing anything with them. This is part of your self-care for you. Okay, let's just see what message we have coming up for you. And the card we have is Chakra Clearing. This is Archangel Metatron, and his message is, call upon me to clear and open your chakras using sacred geometric shapes. This is all about energy clearing, energy cleansing, letting go of what no longer serves and focusing on what is supporting you, helping you, encouraging you along the path, along the way. So making sure that you are clearing your energy on a consistent and regular basis. One of the best ways that I'm seeing that coming up for you is having some sort of salt. So Epsom salt, sea salt, whatever you have handy, taking a handful and in the shower and letting, like holding it in your hands like this under the water, letting the water catch it, and then just spraying it on your face or on your chest or on your shoulders, with the intention to clear, because it feels like there's lots that you're holding on to, lots of stuff that's yours, but also lots of stuff that you've picked up from other people. So make sure that you're actively clearing your energy so that you can continue to vibe high. It's always a pleasure connecting with you, Steve. I'm so grateful that you popped on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. You guys, we have come to the end of our show. I just noticed that we've been live for 1 hour, 11 minutes, and it was 11 seconds when I noticed it. That feels like that is a wonderful and beautiful time for us to come to a close this evening. I'm so incredibly grateful that you chose to spend time with me and that we could connect in this way. It's always a pleasure for me to be able to connect with you, and I'm grateful for the time that you've taken out of your day. If you would like to connect for a personal reading, please visit my website, bookingwitherin.com. I've had lots of people asking if I'm seeing people in person yet. The answer is no. I don't have an estimated time for when that's going to happen. Things are kind of crazy in my home, in my workspace, my office space, and I don't have space right now. And I'm not sure when that's going to change, but that's all part of the chaos that we're living through. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.